tell us what your typical client looks like, Claire. How does that work for you?
Funny that you asked that. As I said, I have a mentor. I have a coach at the WBDC, and I've been doing a lot of restructuring of my services and my systems so that I'm being time efficient and so that I'm not doing unique tasks all the time. She said, look at your client list and tell me what they have in common. And I looked at them, and they were all over the place. And I'm like, oh, I don't know. What do they have in common? And they needed graphic design service. They needed some branding. They were a referral. The majority of my business comes from referrals. My typical client tends to either be a startup, which I define as under 2 years in existence, or a gap client, which I define as like 101 staff to 500 people, where they have established their brand, but they are ready to now invest in it more and take it to the next level. So and I offer essentially 2 services. I do within the sector of, I have corporate branding, and then I have personal branding. Corporate branding is business. Personal branding is one singular person working on their image. So then within corporate branding, I have graphic design services and staff development. Within personal branding, I have graphic design services and personal development, aka style, inside and out. And graphic design could be the invitation, weddings, whatever. In the corporate world, it's the whole sector of marketing, materials, and identity. So I do a lot of work. I believe that my sweet spot is being able to speak to you, look at your environment, and pull out the juice and know what you're about and what your intention is. And through the nature of asking questions and spending time with you, I create a brand. And it's either an icon, or your materials, or it's the way you dress. It's how you create your wardrobe, how you treat yourself. But my real goal is to make you a bigger and better and happier you, whether it's an individual or the company.
Yummy. Questions? Anybody have any questions?
Can I ask a question back around integrity and your time in corporate America? Okay. Did you find that you had trouble being authentic and operating in integrity while you were in corporate America, or was that something that you just kind of dealt with personally?
Well, I have to be honest, way back then I wasn't in good tune with myself as far as personal development, personal awareness. Very materialistic, very reaching for the top rung of the ladder. And I think as I got there and I wasn't happy, that's when I became more self-evolved. But what I know I did was I tried to get my work done so that I could leave and do the things that made me happy. Within work, I think I lasted longer at companies where people appreciated entrepreneurs, because I'm an inventor, I'm an out-of-the-box thinker. I love to create structures and create and improve operations. I'm kind of unique for a creative, that I'm very good analytically also. So I think I tried to voice as much as I could my opinions. They weren't always received. And I think that's also an art that I've developed as a creative director, that I don't take it personally. If you don't like my design, it's not about me. It doesn't fit your brand. So I've learned to be okay with, be gentle with critiquing others, as well as understanding when someone critiques you. Most of the time, it's not meant to be hurtful.
And this question about authenticity, I think actually evolves to, like you take baby steps into feeling greater and greater levels of confidence at showing, I call it showing yourself heart first, full bloom. This idea of coming into full bloom. Most of us operate like buds, or like little acorns. Everything's right there, but we're hesitant to just completely open up. And what I believe to be true about the authentic self is you can never be wrong. And it's not your responsibility to try to manage other people's their perception of you necessarily, because you may or may not ever be successful at that. You can try to convince them until you're blue in the face. But remember, they're also filtering through their family issues, their upbringing, their personal priorities, you know, their core values. All of that is filtering what they see. I like to say you see what you're looking for. But until you're clear of what it is that you're looking for, you're going to see all kinds of stuff. And you'll certainly, until you take kind of an inward journey to ask what is it that's really important to me, you're going to see what other people have planted for you. So the idea of, it's a very scary thing, but what I've found over and over again, which is why I'm becoming bolder and bolder about this conversation in traditional business environments about the heart and spirit and alignment and being in business in a way that serves you and allows you to be all of you, is because the minute I start talking about it, people's eyes open like, oh yeah, me too. It's like they're all these little closet mystics, you know, in all the places where you wouldn't expect them. They're there. So when you feel the urge to reveal, it's probably for a reason. Someone around you is feeling the same thing that you are, and actually will be relieved to know that you see things that they're trying to pretend they don't see. It's like the emperor's new clothes. Oh yeah, we see the king's clothes. I don't see a thing. Well, yeah, we see the king's clothes. Well, there are people, I think, in most corporations today who are hungry for the kind of truth and authenticity they don't feel like they're allowed to reveal. So I say to anyone here who has questions about, can I be me? Okay. Yes, absolutely, and you can do it in small doses. In your cubicle or in your office, if there's something that makes you happy, put the bud face on your desk. Put up a sign that says, okay, focusing right now, please don't disturb me until 3:30. You know, begin to eliminate, delegate, and automate as much as you can so you can create the space to do what you need to do in the time that you've been asked to do it.
If I could go back to your question, it reminded me, I used to call myself a chameleon because I had a very segmented...
You must be a Gemini.
I'm a Libra.
Close enough.
I'm not sure what the reference is.
The mental, the duality, and being very good with the analytical and the creative.
Well, you know, and I am split. I also say it hasn't come up, but I have a very polar urban person and a big outdoor person, and that's why I kept moving mountain, city. I need both, and that's okay. So I've developed a career where I can work remotely. I'm going to build a company so I don't have to be there all the time. I have offices in both places. Like, embrace that. It's okay. But years ago, I thought that was not okay. There was the corporate creative Clare. I was actually a deadhead. Can you believe that? I spent a summer on the road with the dead. There was the deadhead girl. And no one, my groups didn't intermingle. They weren't allowed to because they wouldn't approve of the other Clare. And eventually, I was known as such a social butterfly, and I was so lonely.
Yeah.
And I just finally was like, this is not any fun anymore. I have to move, I actually did it. I up and I moved. I had 1 year where, like, the sky literally fell. And I'm like, it's time for me to go. So I moved to Colorado, and that's when I said, this is me everywhere I go. And I no longer changed my outfit, changed my language. I mean, if you see me corporately or out running, you're still going to get me everywhere. And I encourage that, and I encourage that in my personal development work, my imaging work, that it's okay that, your body comes with you everywhere, and so does your spirit. And I initially started just dressing people because that's my forte, and I realized, wow, it's not going to do me any good to dress them pretty if they're not happy, and it's never going to stick, and the tools aren't going to work. And that's how I got involved with Hefferren, because I thought, you know what, this is a whole package. And I was my first example, because I'm really good at looking good, but if I wasn't happy, it was really a sad disservice to that person.